Hi everyone, it's Reen from Embroidery Garden. I've gotten a lot of email and messages about the new video course that I just uploaded where you can take a traditional sewing applique pattern and turn it into a file for machine embroidery using In the Hoop designer software. Now a lot of people don't have a ScanNCut, and in the course I start out using a ScanNCut. There are other ways of doing this. And one other way where you only use In the Hoop Designer software is that we're going to take our placement sheet. I'm going to set my pieces, applique piece sheet aside. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a picture with my phone of the placement sheet. So I got my phone here. Turn my camera on. And I'm going to just kind of line it up where I get just the edges of the paper and take a photo. And the easiest way is I'm going to go to my photos and I'm going to email the photo to myself. I just get the address in here, hit send, and size, I'm going to send it the actual size. And now I'm going to go and check my email. I've downloaded the photo from my email, and to get it into In the Hoop Designer software, I'm going to go to File, Load Backdrop. I'm going to go and I'm going to find my photo and open it. It comes on the screen, and when the photo comes on the screen, in the upper right, you see this little icon that says Backdrop. You click on it, and now we can edit this backdrop, this photo. One thing I need to do is I need to rotate it. So let me rotate it 90. And let's see, it looks like I need to rotate it 180. All right, and notice the size up here. The width is about 42 inches by 56 inches high. I'm going to bring that down some. What I do is on the height, my paper was 12 inches high, so I'm just going to put 12 in there. You see it made it 9 by 12. That's good enough because remember, you can resize your files that you create. I'm going to just get this a little bit larger. And you also notice this adjust lightness. I'm going to move it from darker, closer to lighter, maybe a little bit more than halfway. Hit apply. And you can see it just lightened up the lines. I want to be able to see what I'm going to be drawing over top of this. I might lighten it up just a little bit more. Okay, so I've got my backdrop in just like I did in the video tutorial, except I scanned it with the ScanNCut. This is another way of getting this placement page onto the screen of In the Hoop Designer software. So doing it this way, you are going to have to trace all of the pieces. You're going to have to draw them, actually. So you would have to draw out the bat, the hat, the star, the hat band, the pumpkin, and the face. So to do that, I'm going to first, let me zoom in. I'm going to show you the hat band. To draw, come up to the drawing tools along the top menu bar. I'm going to select the pen. And to start to draw, I'm going to hold down the left mouse and just start tracing around the line here. I talk about the pen in the tutorial. And when I want to end the line, I just right mouse click. I'm going to select the line, and then I'm going to go to the shape tool, and you see all the little nodes that show up. Let's zoom in, and I got to go back and get that shape tool again. And now I'm just going to start editing my line, and it's as simple as grabbing those nodes and moving them where I want them to be. When I am ready to move on, I can come over to the left-hand side, click on that hand, which is the pan tool, go back to the shape tool, and then continue doing my editing. If I do something weird like that, I'm just going to hit undo. But then this is how you would edit any of your drawing. And again, you would be tracing over each piece in this pattern. All right, so I'm going to say I like how I've traced this line. Let's zoom out. And over here in the right-hand side, if I click the little plus, you can see this is artwork. So you would still be following the tutorial that I did. I am going to select that. I'm going to copy it, paste it, and I am going to drop down to the color palette at the bottom and right-click on a color down here. Doesn't really matter, just as long as it's a different color. And let's zoom in again here. So if you do not have a cutting machine, what you will be doing is you're going to take this SVG that we're going to create here in just a second for this piece. You would trace it onto the paper side of your double-sided fusible, iron it onto the back of your applique piece, and then hand cut it. So when you hand cut something, it is not as accurate as having a cutting machine cut. So in the tutorial, I kind of focus on doing a blanket stitch. So let's just right click on this artwork, convert it to an applique, and I'm going to change this to the E-stitch or the blanket stitch, and I'm just going to change a few settings here like I do in the tutorial. And so then this now is the blanket stitch that would stitch that piece down. So you can only imagine if you don't hand cut the piece exactly to the shape, it's not going to fit into that placement that we've created, accurately. The stitches are going to stay. The only thing that varies is how you hand cut. So if you do not have a cutting machine and you were going to not go that route, instead of doing the blanket stitch like is shown here, go up to type and change it to the satin stitch and click OK. Now it's just like a regular satin stitch. You would have a placement, put your fabric down, your rectangle of fabric over that area. Next would be the tack down, then you would trim, then the satin stitch would come. So you don't have any hand cutting to do. What I'm going to go back now and show is I'm going to change this back to that E-stitch. Okay, let's get that done. Now, let's create our SVG file. Again, we're going to assume that you have traced every piece, the hat, the star, the pumpkin, the face, the bat. You've got everything done just like the tutorial. This is the artwork. It has to be artwork to change a file into a cutting file. So I have that selected. You can see artwork is selected. All you have to do is come to the top menu bar, click the cutter icon. It's showing you the shape, and I'm going to click Save. It's going to want a folder, you to name it, and then it's going to open that folder up. Here's your SVG file that you would load onto your cutting machine, and here is that PDF that if you were hand cutting, you would trace this onto the back of that double-sided fusible, fuse it onto your fabric, and hand cut it out. So I hope that that helps a lot of you. There are other ways of doing this, so you don't have to have a cutting machine to do this. You can do it all in the Hoop Designer software. If you have any other questions, you can shoot me an email. Thanks.